Want to welcome everybody to our community conversation series. I'm Bryan Daniels, President and CEO of the Blount Partnership, and welcome you all to another conversation. Today we're joined by Teri Brahams. She is the Executive Director of Economic and Workforce Development for Pellissippi State. I want to welcome Teri to the program.
Thank you, Bryan. It's very nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So with our community conversation series, what we're trying to do is gain insight into how a lot of assets in our community are responding to COVID-19 and how operations have changed and what it may look like moving forward. And I want to start kind of a general question of, Teri, can you talk to us a little bit about what Pellissippi State, how they responded when COVID-19 was starting to come to the U.S. and the administration, Pellissippi State's administrations really started saying, this is really going to impact us and what do we need to do?
Okay, great. So as we started hearing about COVID coming into the United States, we did start thinking about what would we need to do in the event that we needed to shut down or move classes online. So it was about mid-March before spring break that we really began to, in earnest, think about what does that look like. And over the course of spring break, decided we would extend spring break for another week, called our faculty back in to help them get prepared to start offering all of our classes online. And that's what we did. The last week of March, I believe it was, we were virtual. We had also been talking with staff and employees about being able to work remotely, having them prepare for what would they need in order to do that. And again, everyone moved off campus and we started working from home. And thankfully, our information technology group, Audrey Williams and her staff did a phenomenal job helping both our employees, our staff, our faculty, and our students get the equipment they needed to be successful with everything being virtually and remote.
That had to be a real challenge because as I think of a community college whose really staple is training our workforce that our day-to-day companies utilize, you know, I'm thinking of chemistry classes, I'm thinking of a lot of hands-on training with machinery. That had to be an arduous task that you all were faced with.
It was, but our faculty and our students rose to the occasion. We did offer the opportunity for some of those classes, some of those that you mentioned, nursing, welding, mechanical and electrical engineering. Students did come back on campus the week after finals to do some hands-on and practical applications so that the faculty could be comfortable that they had gained the competencies that we know our employers are looking for.
Okay. So did you all have to extend any classes past their, normally when they would end for a spring semester, or have all the spring classes that you all were offering, have they all completed their task at hand for that part of the year?
So we did extend, as I mentioned, some of our classes came back online and the nursing students are still doing some of their labs even into June.
Okay, okay. So has graduation, I know that's really important when you look at your ending of your semesters, how has graduation changed or been modified for Pellissippi State?
So unfortunately, we did cancel our graduation, which was originally scheduled for Mother's Day. But we did a conferring of degrees on the 22nd of May, virtually. And then our plans are to actually have a commencement ceremony to honor both our spring and our summer graduates on August the 7th. We're still working out the details, but that's our hope, is that we can have a true commencement ceremony on August the 7th.
That's great. That's great. You'd mentioned the summer students. What does summer school look like, or the summer semester look like for you all?
So it is all online at this point.
Okay.
And we started this week.
This week.
Mm-hmm.
And how long does summer school go for?
So that we run a number of different sessions, but summer
Okay.
term will end 1st of August, around that time, I believe.
Okay. Are you all requiring any PPE for students coming in, or are you all requiring temperature checks for all the students come in, or are visitors modified from being able to attend the campus? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, so all of our campuses are really officially closed. We do have employees who are working on campus because that's the only way they can do their job, and their jobs are essential to the operations of the college. So everyone is required to sign in on a virtual access form every day, where they answer 4 questions related to: have you been exposed? Have you been around? Do you have a temperature? And then they're granted access by checking in with our campus police, and then getting access to the building and into their offices. They are asked to wear masks when they're on campus, and especially in the building. We have a cleaning protocol where after every 2 hours, or after things get touched, they get cleaned, so that we can maintain a clean environment. And of course, when we sent everyone home, we brought in a cleaning company to thoroughly sterilize and clean all of our campuses, all of our buildings, and are trying now to maintain that by having our housekeeping crew at night go into those areas that we know have been impacted or unsterilized, I guess.
Okay. So all of your summer sessions are online then, correct?
Correct. For this summer, they are.
Any chance of coming back on campus at all, or is it really? And the reason I'm asking that, if you're doing welding or nursing, some of those things that are hands-on, we mentioned before in the spring semester, any chance those folks coming back to have hands-on opportunity, or will that be
Yes,
pushed?
right now, unless something changes with the government's or health situation, we are planning to offer 4 options for classes. Some will be totally online, which means they're recorded and you watch them whenever you want to. Some will be virtual, where it will be you and your other fellow students, and the instructor in class, certain time of the day, doing it just like we're doing this interview. We will also do some hybrid, where I might do the lecture portion at my convenience, but I know I'll be meeting with my faculty and my fellow students on campus certain times of the semester.
Okay.
And then there will be those classes that will continue to operate face-to-face.
Okay. Has enrollment been affected at all through this process? Have you seen an increase or a decrease in enrollment numbers yet?
So summer seems to have finally tracked to what we're used to. Fall right now is lagging. I believe part of that is people are still trying to figure out, what are they most comfortable with. They also are waiting to see, is the class I need going to be a virtual class or an online class or an in-class, which we hope by June the 15th that will be all worked out and published and available for our students then to make their decisions.
Wow. Any interaction changes with companies doing workforce development with you all? Have you seen a decrease in numbers or increase in numbers during this time?
So we have seen a decrease, which I think is to be expected. We all agreed that the most important thing was the safety of our associates, our students, our instructors. And so much of the training that we had originally scheduled or were conducting did get paused. We're currently starting back with some of that. Next week, we'll be doing one of our first classes with a local employer on campus. And again, the instructor, the students, my staff, as they go in to work with that company, will be filling out that form to get access. We'll be wearing masks. We'll be washing hands. We'll be cleaning doorknobs and desktop services and all of those things to ensure, again, the safety of whoever comes on campus.
It's become our new normal, hasn't it?
Very much so.
While we do this interview, I'll remind the folks that have logged in and signed in that if you have any questions, feel free to message those, and we'll make sure that we ask Ms. Brahams those during our chat here. Kind of carrying forward with that, with Pellissippi State, we've talked about the Workforce Development Center that is being built in Blount County that is very near and dear to our heart. Can you give us an update about that? But then a second part of that to that question is, does Pellissippi do any training outside of the school campus? Like you would be on site at a manufacturer, anything like that? And how do you interact with those protocols?
So certainly we do provide instruction wherever the client wants it. So if we are hired by a company to do training, it's up to them whether they want it done on their site or one of our campuses. And we're happy to do it however they want to. The Workforce Development, Steve and Ruth West Workforce Development Center is still on plan. It's currently kind of hit a snag with trying to work out the cost associated with construction. And we hope to get that resolved soon so that we can finally do that groundbreaking we keep talking about.
Yeah, you all have been working on this Workforce Development Center for many, many, many years.
Yeah, I hate that.
Well, it's not a bad thing that there's been a lot of folks do heavy lifting to make sure that comes to success, and we know it's coming, so it's in good hands, we feel. Talk to me a little bit about, are you all seeing any budgetary impact from Nashville as we've seen them go back into session? Session was closed and has been prolonged. Is there any concern of budget impact that COVID is having that may trickle down to the community college?
Yes, that is a concern. We really don't know yet what that will be. The original budget that was passed prior to the session leaving was very fair, I think, in its funding for higher education. Given the loss in revenues that I know the state is experiencing, I think we would be foolish not to expect that there would be some change to that. And so we have made adjustments, looking at what if, we saw this cut, what if tuition, which we don't think will be increased, what if tuition does not hit the levels that we projected because of enrollment. We have been looking and having serious discussions about that and how we would respond, because we still have to do our work.
Oh, right.
Our work is still important. And so we think the things that most people would think of, travel will be, cut substantially. Some of the things that were nice to have, we won't replace computers in every classroom, perhaps on the same cycle that we always have. New piece of equipment that we wanted in mechanical engineering might not be bought. Those
Sure.
are the things that we're considering as we move forward.
So do all students and I may be showing my age here by asking this question, but do all students predominantly have access to computer technology, or is that something that Pellissippi State can help provide? Is that an issue at all when you look at your students?
Yes, it's certainly an issue. And just to give you an idea, for the spring semester, when we flipped everything to virtual, we handed out 66 hotspots, 47 laptops, 21 webcams to students, in addition to the technology that we allowed our employees and our faculty to take.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, we also made sure that for those who perhaps didn't have Wi-Fi, we went to all of our campuses and boosted our Wi-Fi so that for example, you could go to the Blount County campus and sit in the open lot and connect to our Wi-Fi in order to do your classes.
Wow. So are many of the students that Pellissippi State serve, affected by the lack of access to broadband. Does that come up at all
Yes,
with discussions?
yes, it has. And that's, yeah, the hotspots, while serve the purpose, isn't always the best means by which to access the internet. So we're hoping that the community will, those that can will do what we need to do to expand broadband.
Right. And I think it's important for those that maybe log in. It would be helpful to understand, who does Pellissippi State serve? Because you have so many campuses and serve so many different counties. It'd be helpful if you could just to give us a rough estimate, if you will, of the areas that Pellissippi State is at and the areas they're serving.
So our primary service area is Knox and Blount County. We, of course, have the beautiful campus there in Friendsville for Blount. And then in Knoxville, we have the Hardin Valley campus, the Magnolia campus, our Division Street campus, our Strawberry Plains campus. And so, we cover everything from West Knoxville to rural East Knoxville to inner city Knoxville and rural Blount County as well.
Wow. Would you all be considered, when you look at community colleges across Tennessee, one of the larger community colleges?
We are the largest community college.
How many students do you have?
So we ended this last semester with around 11,000 students.
Wow. There are many universities that don't have that number. That's impressive.
Yes.
We do have a question that has come in. We're hearing a lot about upskilling workers and employees. Tell us a little more about what Pellissippi State is doing internally with upskilling its workers upskilling its workers as well as for its clients.
So the college has a number of ways that we promote professional development. We have a center called PACE that is devoted primarily to help our faculty improve their instruction. And they, of course, were very busy that second week of extended spring break when we were trying to take faculty who hadn't done anything online and help them be able to deliver their courses virtually. We also have an individual that we just hired earlier this year who's now focused on professional development for staff. And we've been running the Pellissippi Academy, which is typically focused on a cohort group that looked at things like equity and diversity, conflict resolution, communication, leadership, as a way to help groom people to be ready to step into other positions. So those are some of the things that we do internally to help upskill and reskill our own faculty and staff. And for companies, we have seen a desire to upskill and reskill existing employees. So we're currently using apprenticeships. We've got a great model that we can use where the college is the sponsor. The employer partner identifies who in their organization they want to be trained. It's a great way to get 1 or 2 people trained as opposed to 10 or 12 that you might need to make it cost effective to do your own training program. And using an online curriculum for most of the delivery of the training with some hands-on reinforcement is what we've been doing there. In addition to the traditional apprenticeships that we help places like Massey or Danny Davis run through their own company.
Right. We've had another, thank you. We've had another question come in too, and it wants to know a little bit about the Tennessee Business Development Center and the services they're providing during this time.
So they have been quite busy. When PPP, the Payroll Protection Program, loan program came out, they quite honestly were swamped with calls, and they were just champions in being available and answering calls. They too had to move virtually, but they were able to continue to address all the calls that came in to provide assistance to small businesses as they tried to move through it. Our banker friends were great about, talking and trying to make sure we were all working together to help these small businesses get the assistance that they want. They're continuing to provide assistance. We've done some virtual webinars. We'll continue to do those. We're getting ready to increase our capacity by bringing on some consultants who will work on a part-time basis, because we do expect that just because you made it through COVID doesn't mean that you can make it longer. And we want to try to improve those chances by giving owners access to people who can truly guide them and help them make the really tough decisions that are going to have to be made, and to think through, how do I continue to be successful in this business under these times?
It was pretty amazing the call volume that you all took hold of. I know that as we were trying to help some folks get in touch with your staff, we were even having trouble sometimes getting in because you were so overloaded. It was incredible to see how your staff responded.
Thank you.
Have you had any estimate at all of just the amount of people you were able to help? I know that number had to be incredible.
I have not asked that. Sometimes I'm afraid if I ask them, they'll go, "Oh, shoot, no wonder I'm so tired."
Well, we really appreciate the resource that Pellissippi State's been through this. What can the business community or the citizens do for Pellissippi to make sure that you all continue to carry on with the services you're providing?
Well, I think it's always good to have those who advocate for us and help promote us. We are still with Tennessee Reconnect and Tennessee Promise a great deal for a truly well-valued product. So if someone's not sure they want, no offense, Bryan, but if no one's sure they want to go to ETSU, then we hope they'll consider Pellissippi State, because we can be a great stepping stone to that 4-year credential. We also continue to offer our career tech programs that will allow you to successfully get a job. So if you're a business owner and you want our graduates from one of those career tech programs, I would encourage you to reach out and become part of our advisory group. Our ability to make sure that our graduates have the right skills are based upon the inputs we get from these advisory groups. Also, if you're a business in the area who wants to upskill their employees, then give us a call and let us talk to you and tell you how we might design a program that would achieve that goal, or how to take advantage of the full credit degree classes and Tennessee Promise or Tennessee Reconnect. We have many employers who send students to regular classes as opposed to looking for some sort of customized training.
Well, Pellissippi State definitely is the boots on the ground, the first responder for our workforce needs post K through 12, and it's impressive what you've done. You know, in the work that I've done here in this community, seeing how you all respond to new companies that have come in and creating programs and training programs to help those companies has really been awesome to see you all respond to. I know aviation appears to be another area of gaining traction, and you guys just do incredible work. It's very responsive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I think we're about to wrap this up. Really appreciate the time that you've given us today, Teri, and appreciate Dr. Wise and the leadership he's given the college and responding to the needs of our area. And for anyone that is looking to really impact workforce development needs in the community, supporting Pellissippi State is a great avenue to ensure the viability of our workforce. So please consider to do that.
Yes.
So without anything else, I think that kind of wraps up our time today. I appreciate everyone tuning in, to our community conversation, and we bid everyone farewell and a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bryan.